Hey friends, and welcome back to the Healthy Beyond 40 podcast. Today, I'm going to be talking about something many of us deal with, but we don't always talk about, and that's cravings and that eating alone. So I just want to start this by saying, just because you have a craving or an urge or a desire to eat something does not mean you have to act upon it. And that sounds simple, right? But it's not always easy. But we have to come back to that thought that just because I'm having this craving or urge to eat something doesn't mean that I need to act on that. And if you guys are parents, we can relate this to kids. Like, we want them, just because they have a desire or an urge to do something that they know they're not supposed to do, it doesn't mean they have to act on it. So we can apply the same principle to us when it comes to food. So maybe you've had a long day, you feel overwhelmed. Maybe someone said some things that weren't nice to you, and all of a sudden you're reaching for a bag of chocolate chips. Or maybe you're sneaking into the pantry when no one is watching. So we're going to be talking about what's going on under the surface today. Hi friends, and welcome to the Healthy Beyond 40 show. I'm Michelle, mama of 4 and military wife, and I'm passionate about helping women get healthy from the inside out so they can feel better and live their best life. Do you feel like you're struggling to lose weight and get in shape? If you're ready to develop healthier habits, exercise consistently, and lose weight sustainably, then you're in the right place. I combine my expertise from my doctorate in physical therapy to my experience as a health coach, personal trainer, and yoga teacher to bring you actionable steps for a healthy lifestyle. No magic pill here, so lace up those shoes and get moving. All right, so let's talk about cravings first. And I want you guys to remember that cravings, like a craving for an ice cream or a cookie or chips, are not just about the food. So there's usually something deeper going on that is driving that craving. And really, a craving is just this urge or desire to eat something. But typically there's something else going on. Now, for some people too, it can just be habitual, but we usually have stress, exhaustion, loneliness, boredom, seeking comfort, avoiding a feeling like anxiousness. So think about you. And a lot of times when I start doing coaching calls and talking to people about this, sometimes they don't know what is under it at first. And it takes a couple weeks to really start evaluating what's going on when it happens. So maybe you don't know right now and you need to take some time to evaluate that when you get a craving, to pause. Like, what is going on here? Am I stressed? Am I lonely? Am I bored? Am I feeling anxious? Am I feeling uncomfortable? Like, what's going on? And sometimes when we're feeling some feeling or sensation, we just want to feel better. We want to escape that moment and not really feel that uncomfortable feeling or that stress at all. So instead, we just give into that craving because it makes us feel temporarily better, right? Especially if it's a carb, we get a little dopamine hit and we feel a little bit better temporarily. It doesn't solve that problem long term. You know, if we're stressed, it doesn't take away our stressors, but it gives us that temporary relief. And that's where it's important to come in and pause and ask yourself, what do I really need right now? So you have to start breaking that cycle. Like, just because I'm having a crave or an urging doesn't mean I have to give into it. What is really going on here for me? What am I feeling that I'm trying to avoid or escape? And what do I actually need right now? Do I need rest? Do I need to cry? Do I need to go outside? Do I need to just take some deep breaths and regulate? Do I need connection? Do I just need a minute to myself? What is it that you need? And when we can ask ourselves that, we can tune into our actual needs. And instead of just reacting on autopilot, grabbing that cookie or those chocolate chips, whatever that is, we can give ourselves what we actually need. Okay, I'm just going to take 5 minutes to breathe. Or maybe I'm going to go outside and listen to some music. Or I'm going to go for a quick 5-minute walk. Or maybe all I can do is to go in the bathroom by myself to get away from everyone. Whatever that might be. But I can give myself what I actually need, right? Because we want to fix what's actually going on. We don't want to put a Band-Aid on top of it. So along with cravings and urges, sometimes that turns into eating alone, and it's really more common than you think. And sometimes it can come out from old shame and old stories that we have that we're trying to hide something. So maybe you've done this before. Maybe your kids are home and the house is seeming chaotic, and you maybe go sneak into the kitchen and you grab your favorite treat from the pantry and you eat it. You sort of make sure that no one knows you're eating it. And then maybe you go back. But you try to do this alone, like you don't want people to see it. Maybe you hide wrappers. Maybe you're a person who eats in your car before you get home so that no one thinks that you were eating that. Or you stop at gas stations on the way home. Or maybe once everyone's gone to bed, you sort of come back out and sneak into the kitchen and eat. And if you've done that, I want you to know you're not broken, you're not bad, there's no shame, you're not weak. It's just a pattern that you've developed. And usually if you can start to break down that pattern and really work through it, really be open to healing, to maybe some of those hurts or that shame you have, then you can start to find more freedom. You can make a choice to yourself that you're not going to do that eating alone when you're doing it from a sense of trying to hide something. Obviously, there's nothing wrong with eating by yourself, but it's that feeling when you're trying to hide something because you're creating shame when you're trying to hide something over something that there doesn't need to be shame. Even if it's something where you're eating more than you need to, or you're eating more sugar than you need to. You don't need to hide it. There's nothing to be ashamed about. Maybe, yes, you want to break out of that and not do that anymore. Then you're going to have to shine the light on it, right? For my Christian friends, sin lives in darkness, and we bring sin to the light, we can start to have freedom. So the same thing with this. Like, you may not be thinking of very clearly, like, I'm trying to hide this because it's bad. You may or may not think that. But when we can just shine light on it and say, like, it's okay. Like, it's okay if right now I'm at a point where I'm feeling so stressed from my day and work that I'm coming home and I'm eating ice cream right from the container. I'm not going to hide it, though. I'm just going to eat it in front of people. Now, that is obviously maybe something that we're going to want to work on, but we're going to take that shame away from it that's holding you stuck. We're going to say that is okay for right now. And yes, we can still work on trying to nourish our body better. But I'm not going to live in that shame anymore. So I hope if that's you, maybe that's making a little sense where you can break free from those patterns that you've been in and that are sort of keeping you where you are instead of where you want to go. And I just want to pause real quick because for the rest of this month, I have a special deal going on with my Healthy for Life fitness membership. And you can get a free 30-day trial. That's only going to be till the end of August, and then that 30-day free trial will go away. Inside this membership, I have a bunch of fitness programs that you can go through where you can learn exactly how to work out correctly, core training that's safe and effective, workouts that aren't going to wreck your joints. But what is also in there that is connected to what I'm talking about today is my course, the self-coaching system. So I put that course in there and my nutrition course in there. And the self-coaching system is going to help you have some tools in your toolbox to work through these mindset and emotional blocks that are keeping you stuck in these cravings, these urges to eat food, this eating alone, and this self-sabotage. So I just added those two courses into this membership. So it's like super affordable. You can cancel at any time. And it really gives you that whole approach. So you got your fitness, you got your mindset and your nutrition, all this in one hub. And then there's always an option where you can add on a health coaching call with me a month in that membership to get that one-on-one support if you need that. So there's going to be a link down below. So make sure you guys check that out and take advantage of that while you have that free 30-day trial to see if it's a fit for you. Okay, so now I want to go over some tips on how to break these patterns from cravings, urges, eating alone, really when it comes to our nutrition and how we nourish our body when it's outside of what we want to do, right? Generally, most of you guys know for the most part what you need to eat and maybe not eat. Usually there's like some tweaks, but in a generalization, we know that it comes back to this emotional and this mindset piece that gets in the way of us doing what we want to do. So first is just to pause and notice. So when a craving or urge hits, that you're going to take a breath. You got to create that pause because we just go on autopilot. And when you first do this, I want you to just pause, and who cares about the outcome if you end up eating the thing or not? Because starting to train your brain to just pause and notice what's going on is huge. And ask yourself, what am I feeling? It doesn't mean you have to fix it. Like, I'm stressed and overwhelmed at work and I have all these things with the kids and this is going on and this. We're not going to fix it. We're just going to name what we're feeling. And we might bring some like compassion to that. But sometimes pausing and taking notice can break that cycle. Next is to give yourself permission to feel. You do not have to eat your feelings. You can actually feel them and you will be okay. And in my self-coaching system course, I teach you how to do EFT and give you some tools to actually feel your feelings and process them. And I give you some mindset work to actually help you change your thoughts so that your feelings change. Because our thoughts that we have in our mind, I'm pointing to my head here like you guys can see, create our feelings. So when we allow ourselves to feel our feelings and we have tools to feel them, but to also heal from them, process them, then we can move on from that. So if I'm using this example from maybe work and kids and stress, everything is just feeling overwhelming, right? My circumstance may not change. There may be some things that I do decide, okay, we're not going to do that. But let's say my circumstance doesn't change. I can change the way I'm thinking about it. I can think like, okay, I can handle this. This is really just for a couple more weeks. Instead of like, oh my goodness, how I'm going to do that. Those thoughts are going to create different feelings. All right, so we have just pause and notice what's going on. Ask yourself, how am I feeling? 2, give yourself permission to feel. And 3, when you're doing this whole process is to get curious and not judging. And it sort of goes back into the idea of that alone eating is just taking the shame out of the equation. So to be curious about what's really going on here. I'm not judging myself. I'm not going to shame myself. Do I just need a break? Am I just living out these old stories I heard that I was a kid around food or guilt? Whatever that is, be curious and be kind to yourself. Because no one is going to break through this by shaming and being mean to themselves. That's not going to get you where you need to be. And especially when you're stuck in this cycle and you've been stuck in it for a while of cravings, urges, or eating alone, like I said before, that shame grows in secret. It grows in the dark. But we can shine a light to it. And here specifically, I'm encouraging you to share that with someone else, whether that's a coach, a friend, a spouse, as the shame will start to lose its power. So 4 there is to tell someone safe about your cravings, about your urges, how it's hard, about eating alone. Start to bring light to that so that shame can lose its power. And the last one, tip number 5, is practice something different, right? So you're so used to when that urge or craving comes up that you act on it right away. Some people will put it off a little bit, but then they eventually give in and eat the thing. Because you're going to do something different here. You're going to do that pausing. And remember, just because you have that urge or desire to eat something, you don't need to act on it right away. And so that's part of rewiring your brain. You're teaching yourself that you have a choice. You're not powerless to that donut sitting in front of you. You can have an urge or a craving, and you can feel uncomfortable because if you're not going to eat the thing and you're having an urge or a craving, it feels uncomfortable, but it will be okay. And in my course, I have a tool to help with that when you have that urge or craving and it feels uncomfortable. But you can handle that. You have a choice when you have that urge or craving. And sometimes there is some healing and some work that you need to do if you're staying stuck. I encourage you to do that work. Whether that's just work you can do on your own, like using my self-coaching system, or working with a coach like me or someone else, or working with a counselor. But you have a choice. You can work through and heal Even if sometimes when I'm talking to people, they're like, oh, this is like so silly that I'm, eating alone, or that I keep having these cravings and I just like keep eating the thing. Like, it's not. And I think sometimes there's like that shame or that embarrassment about it because we think it's like, I should be doing better at this, that we don't even reach out for that help we need to. So wherever you are, it is okay. You don't have to feel bad about where you are or think that you should be somewhere else or you should be able to handle that craving. It's okay. Like, that's most of us. So if you need that extra support, reach out for it. And you guys can always set up a free call with me. There's a link in the description down below, and it's super casual. And we'll just sort of talk about your goals, sort of see if we're a fit, and hopefully get you moving in the right direction. And that way you can get that extra support, accountability. In coaching, a lot of times you're able to have someone else see something that you can't see, to ask a really good question or to point something out that you haven't noticed before. And so even for myself, I go to group coaching for myself, and I have a coach for myself because it's so helpful to have someone else's perspective and help me to get over little humps that I can't see for myself right now. So let's run through some of these. So I went through those 5 steps. I'm going to repeat them. Pause and notice. Give yourself permission to feel. Get curious, not judgy. Tell someone safe. And do something different than what you've been doing. So let's run through a scenario here. Let's say you're having people over for dinner. After they leave, the kitchen's a mess, you're tired, and you feel a little irritated, even though you're not really sure why. And you go to grab a handful of M&Ms. But now you're going to pause. And instead of eating them, you're going to ask yourself, what do I really need right now? You realize that you just feel exhausted. You gave all your energy to this night while people were here, maybe before they even got there. And you really just need some self-care. You need some time alone. So instead of the M&Ms, you put them down, maybe you even throw them in the garbage. Maybe you make yourself a cup of tea and you sit down and you just do some deep breathing. And maybe you listen to like one of your favorite songs. And then that really takes the edge off of it. You don't need those M&Ms anymore because you gave yourself what you actually need. And you're in a more regulated spot. So you don't need to be perfect. You just need to be curious. So every craving or urge, desire that you have is an invitation to look deeper, not something to fear or fight. Food might feel like that fix in the moment, but it's never the long-term solution. And you deserve real comfort. You deserve to be taken care of. You deserve peace and habits that actually support the life you want. All right, friends, I hope that you guys enjoyed this episode today. If you did, feel free to share it with a friend that can relate. And make sure to check the descriptions for all of those links. All right, guys, you got this.